Hi. Who wants Medicare for all? That's not going to get it done. Who wants Medicare for all? Who thinks the people that work in the building we just passed wants it to happen? Exactly. It's not going to be given to us. They're not going to wake up one day after almost 80 years of talking about it and not doing anything about it and suddenly going, oh my goodness, maybe we should do something. I can't believe we've been doing this to our people for so long. Maybe we should change. It's not going to happen that way. We used to understand in this country that if you wanted something, you had to fight for it. And it had to look like a fight. The suffragettes, the labor movements, the civil rights movement, the women's liberation movement, the anti-war movement, free speech movement, you name it. They took to the streets. They didn't care who was in power. They didn't worship at the altar of party or politician. Whatever the politician said they wanted, don't care. This is what you're doing. It's never going to happen kindly. It's never going to happen peacefully. We were civil for 50 years. We gave up the mass movements. And we adopted the language of electoral and identity politics. And I'd like to give you a short list of what we got in return. The U.S. is ranked number 36 in the world in access to water and sanitation. 36 out of our peer countries. For anyone that wants to know, that's 36 out of 37. America has the highest incarceration rate in the motherfucking world. In the land of the free, home of the brave, we lock up more people for shit. And the people that do the most harm get elected to Congress and write laws to make sure the people work in the banks get to have wonderful, happy lives. If we're not willing to make their lives a living misery, then we may as well go home, watch TV, wait for the end. Youth poverty rate in the United States is the highest in the developed world. The OECD says that the U.S. is ranked 35 out of 37 in terms of inequality. You getting a picture? You have to understand the depth of the problem. In 2018, a survey was done that said that white America believes that the wealth disparity between black and white was only 80%. They believed that black wealth was about 80% of that of white. But the U.S. Census Department that same year shows it's 7%. If you can't see the problem, if you don't understand the depth of the problem, you're not going to be motivated to fix the problem. So it is time to understand, right here, right now, that people who die because they don't have health care is between 40 to 70,000. And I hear that statistic all the time. That's annually, by the way. Twice today, we have heard people in passing mention that the third leading cause of death in the United States is medical errors in hospitals. What they don't say is the number annually is 225,000 to 440,000 people every year. These are people with health care. These are people who have insurance, who have come smack against the limit of what that insurance will actually pay for, what it will cover, and the result is your death. So covering people is not the solution. Covering people just gives more money to insurance companies that don't give a fuck whether you live or die. The best that can be said of them is that they don't want you to die, but they will walk over as many bodies as they need to get what they want. And we're okay with that. How do I know we're okay with that? Well, it hasn't changed yet. That's the point. 1943. 1940 fucking 3 is the first time I've been able to find someone talking about Healthcare is a human right, a national right to healthcare. FDR, the Economic Bill of Rights, in one of his fireside chats. Someone born in 1943 is almost 80 years old now and has lived every day of their life with that promise unfulfilled. If we cared, this wouldn't be a problem. If we cared, I would be home right now. I know you guys care. You're here. But look around. How many of you are here? How many are here? How many have stayed? This is a problem. Too many people think, and I know this is unpopular, but I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I can't fucking stand it anymore. People want to just vote. They want to get progressives into office. Which basically says that almost 500,000 people that will die this year, we're okay to sacrifice because we got to get a few more progressives in. We can't make moves until we get more progressives in. My representative, Andy Kim, New Jersey 3rd, has been doing this for 3.5 years. Ran on health care. He's still studying it. He is still taking a look at alternate options when there was one on the books right now, ready to go. I don't give a shit what other countries do. We are monetarily sovereign. What we can and cannot do is not defined by money. It is defined by resources. Do we have enough doctors, enough hospitals? Do we have enough clinics? Do we have enough CAT scan machines, MRI machines, X-ray machines? If we have it, we can buy it, we can use it for this purpose. But they don't do it. And we're not forcing them. If we don't force them, they're not going to do it. FDR himself said, I agree with you. Now force me to do it. That was not simply voting in more people. That was taking to the streets, sustained opposition, sustained pressure. Politicians only do what they do because they are forced to do it. And the only ones that force them to do it are the oligarchs and the corporations. We have a country of, for, and by the corporations. They show up every day, all day, and they get what they want. That's where the pressure comes from. And we're not going to get a damn thing if we don't meet and beat that kind of pressure. So what I'm advocating for here, as important as it is to vote, because it shows them that you haven't given up, as important as it is to march, because it's visible, as important as it is to sign petitions, because it shows unity. If we don't get serious right here, right now, to organize mutual aid in your community and stretching out across the country to make sure that people who need help with rent, with housing, with food, with clothing, with insecurity of all manner, we need a general strike to bring them to their knees.
Fuck yeah.
There is one language and one language alone that they understand: money. And if we keep it out of their hands, we will stand a chance. But if we don't threaten them with economic insecurity, the very thing that they hurl at us, we may as well go home. We will know that we are serious. We will know that this is what we want when we stop talking about it and start forcing it. We were civil for 50 years. We were kind for 50 years. And this is what we got. Suicides are on the rise. Economic disparity is on the rise. Everything that you can imagine that makes us just want to die faster is on the rise. And if it hasn't touched you yet, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. It's only a matter of time. And I'm tired of waiting for the right conditions. I'm tired of waiting for the stars to align and for Mars to no longer be in retrograde and for the friends to finally have a reunion. I'm tired of waiting. If we wait, they know they can wait us out. This march is wonderful, but they know they can wait us out. They know, as of right now, we're not serious. So we have to change that narrative. We are here, we know what we want, and we're not accepting less than what we need. Not out of selfishness, to live, to survive. We need mass movements. 360 million people in this country. We can have people dedicated to healthcare, people dedicated to education, people dedicated to all manner of deficits that we have. Deficits of housing, deficits of nutrition. I want to thank very much Marianne Williamson, who's here today, the only one on the campaign trail who talked about the cause of sickness. The healthcare system we have right now is not healthcare. It's disease management. If we don't start talking about the food and the water and the other things that we put in our bodies, food that is subsidized by our government with public money to make it cheap and accessible, if we don't start talking about the fact that there are entire areas of this country where your only grocery store is a 7-11, where the nearest hospital is 50 miles away. I had to be taken away in an ambulance just before COVID hit. I'm fine, thank you. But I work in healthcare. Only because I work in healthcare, I knew that I had to tell the ambulance, don't take me to my local hospital. I'm not covered there. It's a 2-minute drive to that hospital. It's a 15 to 20-minute drive to the hospital nearest that will actually cover me. What if I was having a heart attack? What if I was a gunshot victim? What if? Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. My health care coverage covered the ambulance. I still got the bill because the ambulance doesn't ask for your insurance up front. They bill you afterwards. Show of hands, who wants to take a guess at how much it was? Anyone? You, sir, in the back. You're a lucky man. Nope, much higher. Oh, you're a very optimistic man. No, but I like the way you think. $1,050. Now here's the thing. I had a vasovagal incident. I woke up stiff neck. It made me pass out. I'm a pussy. Sue me. My wife woke up to the sound of me falling to the ground, and she thought I was having a stroke. I was unresponsive. She called 911. Of course she would. Anyone would. I was fine as soon as I woke up, but I understand. I don't know exactly what happened. Take me to the hospital. They didn't do anything for me. The first responders, the police department, they took my vitals. I was fine. Hospital, the ambulance rather, escorts me. They couldn't get the gurney in. Geographically speaking, they couldn't get the gurney into the bedroom, so they had to walk me out, which was fine. They helped me into the back. They buckled me up. They didn't give me any meds. They didn't do anything for me. It was $800 just to show up. The bill itemized it, which in and of itself is a bloody miracle. They itemized it, $800 just to show up. $200.50 to go the extra distance to the hospital I knew my insurance would take. We have 60% poverty in this country, either in or one bad paycheck away from falling into it. And we all know once you fall in, you ain't getting out. 60% of the population cannot afford a $500 emergency. It was $800 just to have them show up. What do you think you're going to be able to afford when they take you to your destination? There are whole swaths of the population that would rather die than go to the hospital, not because they don't want to live, but because they know they're not going to be able to live once they get the bill. Because they know if they go and they die, Their loved ones are going to be on the hook for whatever the hospital did, whether you lived or not, doesn't matter. If you want change, you're the first one that has to change. If we're not going to get serious, then they're not going to get serious. There is not a single motherfucking one of them that is going to lift a finger. They'll tweet about it, they'll talk a good game, but when the rubber meets the road, where are they? They know they don't have to do anything because most people are more comfortable worshiping, loving their party, loving their team. Just win elections, just win elections. But the powers that be know that win or lose, it doesn't matter. Nothing changes. It doesn't affect them. So if we want change, we have to change. Marches like this should be clear to the back. Without that, we don't have much hope of getting mutual aid, because when we do get a general strike, you gotta know there's gonna be pushback. People are gonna be fired, people are gonna lose their jobs, people are gonna get the shit kicked out of them in the streets, people are gonna die. But we're dying anyway, by the hundreds of thousands. And that's just because of the healthcare system that does not even touch the misery, the bankruptcy, the divorces, the suicides, all because of the way we do healthcare. And as a nation, I'm not talking about you guys, as a nation, we seem to be okay with that. Nothing's going to change until we show them that we're not okay with that anymore. Can't tell them. You cannot tell them. They've heard it before. You cannot ask them for anything. They don't want to do it. So asking them doesn't do anything. Being kind to them doesn't do anything. Being polite to them doesn't do anything. You have to force them. Who's ready? Okay, go home and make it happen. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Medicare for all!